Victor, Robert.
Mike, could you hear us?
Hello.
Hey, Mike, welcome.
Hi, Bill. Sorry I'm late.
No, you're good. We're just getting going, I think, right? Is everyone here that said they're going to be here?
Victor.
Victor, yeah. Okay,
Receive response, but Victor accept the.
okay. Great, thank you. Well, welcome everyone to the April 30th, 2026 Monroe County Planning Board meeting. Just a reminder that the meeting is being recorded and I believe it is being streamed. Yes, great. So we'll call the meeting to order. I will take attendance. Bill Santos, I'm here. Mike Wiedemer.
Here on Zoom.
Thanks, Mike. Dave Watson.
Here.
Tyrese Bryant.
Here.
Elizabeth McDade.
Here.
Milton Pichardo.
Here.
Victor Sanchez. Robert Colby. Rachel Barnhart. Amy Grower. Connor McMahon.
Here.
Adrian Green. Joe Leatherstitch.
Here.
Sorry, Leatherstitch.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jennifer Cesario.
Here.
Joe Taddeo. Richard Chantalo. Christina Doherty. Sean Murphy.
Here.
And Andy Frazier.
Here.
Welcome, everyone. Yushin, would you like to introduce staff, county?
Welcome, Bridget Cook from the Law Department, and we also welcome our Department of Transportation, Henry Herzig, the Chief of Highway and Bridge Engineering, and come to for our action items today. And also from Information Services, Ken Fowling, Supervisor of Microcomputer and Services, to answer questions to the board.
Great. And Lisa.
And for planning staff,
Yeah.
we have Lisa Hampton here, and who prepare those meeting packets and things for everyone, and myself, Ishan Lin.
Welcome, everyone. Did we get everyone? Oh, Victor, welcome. We'll get you down here. Thanks, Sean. All right. Great. First item on the agenda is the approval of the March 19th, 2026 meeting minutes. They were sent in your meeting packet. I need a motion for those, please. Thank you, Milton. Is there a second? Thank you, Victor. Okay. Any discussion on those? Changes, revisions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. We got welcome, legislator.
Yeah, sorry I'm late.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
hear me?
good. Yep, we got you. We just voted on the minutes. Would you like to vote on them also?
Yes. Okay, I approve.
Okay, thank you. All right. Announcements. I'll go through this. You want me to-
I will just give briefly. So we received a public input through the email after the public input open periods was concluded. So our open public input for this proposed CIP was closed on March 18th, and we received the email March 19th at 3 p.m. And I can forward the email to the board.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can read a couple items that it was from Mr. McKay. He's president of the Genesee Regional Off-Road Cyclists. He did attend the meeting, one of our meetings, and he was the subject is the Irondequoit Bay Area Trail User Study. And the report results, the survey response, 1,000 survey responses. The majority of people wanted more shared use trails. They also want better trail connectivity between parks and the places we live. They want basic amenities like bathrooms, et cetera. So there's some information there for parks that we've passed along. And also, I think, do we have responses from parks?
Yes.
Okay.
So, in response to Mr. Mackay's email, County Parks provided below informations. So the Parks Department is dedicated to the maintenance of the existing trail system and continuously makes improvements for the long-term benefits of the park and the park system. Patron use the environment. Trail maintenance is done on a continual basis throughout our park system as our county parks crews cut back overgrowth, remove fallen trees, fix drainage, and resurface trail regularly. Around the Quick Park Trail Study Survey respondents identified two primary conflicts. First, bikes on trails where biking is not permitted or dogs off leash. Increased educational signage pertaining to these 2 points of conflict have been added by park staff in the locations identified by survey respondents. Additional park benches have also been installed in response to comments received in the survey. Park is currently working on improved wayfinding, including color arrows at trail intersections to make navigation easier for trail users. And we also follow up with the county parks to inquire whether there are recommendations identified in the study that they could provide comment on, or if there's a future CIP project might come into the board. The park responding that the study does not note any specific project to be included in the capital program. However, they did mention about the study can develop a number of concept projects after reviewing the recommendations. For example, a pedestrian bridge over Empire Boulevard to multiple new restroom facilities, better maintained trails. But at this time, county parks have prioritized trail maintenance and will perform those projects utilizing the annual department budget. And the Parks Department is not seeking to making changes in the current CIP.
So that's their response, and that's going to be copied. Is Mr. McKay going to receive a
Yes.
reply? Good, thank you. Any comments from board members on that? Great.
I also want to provide a CIP update. Looks like you all have a copy of the recommended proposed CIP. So this is the same contents you have been reviewing in the month of March. We added the claim for recommended letters and also the priority budget, current year budget votes information. And the next steps is the board recommended CIP will introduce the county legislature on the May meeting, and with a public hearing scheduled at the June legislature meeting, and the public hearing and the adoption were anticipated at the full legislature meeting in July 14th.
Thank you. And then you also wanted to mention the comprehensive master plan, just to give us an update. So Shen's been working on that. It's one of her projects, so.
So the comprehensive plan, so just not sure everyone know the last comprehensive plan the county currently has was adopted in 1979. And also at that time, I think the government structure, there's no county executive. So this will be the first comprehensive plan under the current government structure. So it was initiated in 2020, and as you know, the COVID hits, but the county still move forward. So the project was started in 2021. And then there's the American Rescue Plan, Rescue Act plan, the ARPA funding comes into play. So kind of the county kind of shift some of the priority for the COVID recovery. So the comp plan is still in continuously develop. So the plan finally, after a long planning process, and we have done at least 50 pop-up events and hosting two kinds of focus group meetings. One is a municipal focus group. We reach out to all the towns and villages, and including the city of Rochester, all the municipal staff and the leaders, and also all the stakeholders like community agencies and different groups, and also our county different departments. So the planning team is with the hire a consultant, which is the EDR, who also developed the Onondaga comprehensive plan in 2022. So the plan is in the final stage of putting all the data and information together, and we hope to present the comprehensive plan to the board, later this spring or early summer.
So that's one of the planning board's requirements. One of our charges is to review the comprehensive plan. So,
Yes.
so annually we review the CIP. Welcome. I didn't see you sneak in. And this is another one of the bullet points one of our charges that we have to do. So great.
Yep.
Thank
So
you for the
board,
update.
Recommend the comprehensive plan for the legislature for consideration. Coming up in the step, and I look forward to sharing over almost 6 years of process and finally the results.
Nice. Looking forward to it. So you're thinking sometime in May or June, probably June,
Be in July,
June or July. Great.
and I will continue providing updates when we
Awesome.
sure about the date.
Any other announcements from or communications from board members or staff? Hearing none, we'll go on to action items. The first action item is item 3A on your agenda. It is to amend the 2026 capital budget and increase the project authorization in the amount of $720,000 from $1,715,000 to $2,435,000 for a total project authorization of $2,435,000 for the Walker Road Bridge project in the town of Hamlin. I need a motion for that, please. Thank you, David. Is there a second?
Okay.
Second, Elizabeth. Thank you. And we have Bridges and Highways here to present. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
yes.
I can give you some.
Mr. Herzog, right?
Thank you. Yes, I'm here to Chief of Highway and Bridge Engineering. Our director, Tom Fries, couldn't make it today, so I'm
You're on.
pinch hitting for him.
Yeah, right.
And just to fill you in, this bridge replacement project was something that we started working on in 2022. And it is a bridge that was built in 1935, and it's past its useful life and in not the best of shape. We applied for Bridge New York funding and received it for this project, but the estimate was done in 2022, and due to inflationary factors, mainly when we put this out to bid in February, we thought we would be over budget, and we were. So this is the difference in order to complete the bridge project for construction.
So this is a bid number, so they're pretty much, and you have a contingency figured in.
Yes, in that bid, we always include something called a field change payment item, which if we don't have any field change payments, we won't use. The county will save that funding. But that is sort of our contingency reserve, which is typically about 5%.
And the New York Bridge New York funding, is that does that remind me, is it 90% or?
It's 90, well, it's 80% federal, 15% state, and last 5% is the local share. But again, because we applied for a particular amount, I believe we are there. We are going to, the feds, the state will cover 67% of the project, and the local share, because we're over the amount, will be covered by us. Initially, we are going to apply for additional funding if it becomes available as these projects start to wrap up.
I see.
This year, sometimes there is funding available for overruns, which we will certainly apply for, but as it stands right now, it's 67% is what the number works out overall from design all the way through construction of our current bid number.
Understood. Yep. So that's the, good. Any questions for Mr. Herzig? No questions. What's the rating of the bridge? Remind me of is that is it-
It was between a 4 and a 5, which a
4 and a 5.
brand new bridge is a 7, and a 2 is like falling over. So, obviously we don't want to
Yeah.
wait to the point that it's
Right.
ready to collapse. So we do want to stay on top of this. And frankly, it being from 1935, built to different standards. And in the condition it was in, it was a concrete jack arch, which is an old fashioned style of metal forms on the inside, which were all rusted out and so forth. And so it was time to do some major work on it.
And you're gonna do one lane at a time or one side at a
No, it's-
time, or?
It is going to be a road closure of
Oh,
Walker Road,
okay.
approximately 3 to 4 months
Yeah.
to excavate the old bridge, put footings, piles, and then place the new deck structure. It's called a pre-stressed prefabricated deck system that lays on top of poured concrete abutments, and then gets a concrete deck poured over that.
Oh.
And this bridge, the other reason why actually that it is actually a little bit over budget is because the existing bridge is about a 33-foot span, and we're roughly doubling that due to the hydraulic needs. So that this one was undersized, and that until you do the design and do the hydraulic analysis, you don't really know how big it needs to be until that's done. So it was a little bit larger, ended up being a little bit larger than what we expected as well.
Hydraulic analysis, I mean the width of the water.
Correct.
body of water underneath it?
How large the bridge needs to be in order to handle typically they're designed for a 50-year storm.
Okay,
But they're also, that's designed with a 2-foot buffer, which is designed for, and it should pass the 100-year storm as well, which it is designed for now.
okay.
I guess I have a question. So the budget in
2022, Rich.
2022 was a preliminary budget, or the project got?
It was preliminary, yes. That's in order to apply for the Bridge New York funding, we need to put together a rough estimate at that point. And again, the design isn't done, the engineering work isn't done yet. It's at the first step. So, we take similar bridges that have been done in similar times, and there is a inflation factor that we do throw in there as well. But actually, since 2022 to 2026, the inflation factors for materials and labor have gone up much more than the usual 3% that we tack on. So it has hit us pretty hard in the last couple of years.
Well, the start date was always going to be next year.
Yes, it was going to be that. That's what it's programmed for. The Bridge New York program gives a couple of years for design and so forth, and just to select. The selection process takes about at least 6 months, 8 months sometimes. So just that, and then getting into a contract with a consultant takes some time, scoping that, and then you actually start the design and survey and the hydraulics calculations, then the final design, and then we can finally put it out to bid. So it's a bit of a process. It does take some time.
Could you remind us about the bridge ratings? The state has a rating system. Is it
Correct.
0 to 7 or something like that, or
It's
1 to 7?
usually 2 to 7.
2 to
Yeah,
7,
2 to
okay.
7 roughly. And again, 7 being a new, 2
Yeah.
being it probably should be shut down.
Yeah.
And the New York State DOT inspects bridges at least every 2 years, unless they start getting to that low level, in which case they usually do it once a year.
Okay.
Just a step up inspection once they start to get in rough shape. But again, our this was programmed and evaluated. We also do our own inspections as
Right.
well.
And yours is through five, right? So 1 to 5 or something?
Correct. Ours is
Okay.
a little different. And we've actually, over the years, kind of adopted theirs too.
Oh,
So we're
okay.
kind of on a similar track. And we do go out and to try and create a program of what the needs are, whether it's going to be a replacement or a rehab or just maintenance repair of little things. And this one, again, mainly due to the age, it's past its useful life and not in good condition. It was put on the capital program. And whenever we put things on a capital program, look for opportunities for state and federal funding as well. And that did come up in 2022. So we applied and did receive funding for it from the feds, the state.
Great. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You, any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, the ayes have it. Next item is to amend the 2026 capital budget to increase the project authorization in the amount of $775,000 from 1.439 million to 2.268 million for a total project authorization of $2,268,000 for the Mile Square Road Bridge replacement over Arundequoit Creek project in the town of Mendon. And I need a motion for that, please. Thank you, Rachel. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Milton. Henry, back up. Thank you.
Sure. So similarly to the one in Hamlin, this one in Mendon and Mile Square Road over Arundequoit Creek is a similar situation, except since it's not 1933 built, it's a 1935. Similar situation. It's past its useful life. It has a drop beam design, which is called non-redundant as well, and there's no easy way to analyze it. Basically, it's just one concrete blob board type of a structure all at once with rebar, and it's hard to analyze. And it's, being from 1935, is having some issues with exposed rebar and sort of being a maintenance issue for us on a regular basis, putting money into it. So it was put on the capital project as well, about the same time as the other project in Hamlin. Also applied for Bridge New York funding, did receive that. And this one, as far as some of the issues that were discovered, is that the road and the bridge is right on a curve, and there is banking or super elevation that's needed. And again, that wasn't built to today's standards for banking, to especially to avoid hydroplaning on a curve. We do like to bank the road. It was back when it was done quite some time ago. Last time the road reconstructed, it wasn't put into this correct banking super elevation. So that kind of expanded the job. As long as we were replacing the whole bridge in that area, we did extend the paving a little bit further, a few hundred feet in both directions, to correct the super elevation out there. And that did raise the prices as well of the bid. The project was put out the bid. And again, this one was another one that got caught up in some inflationary factors as well, with costs rising. So we put that out to bid in that one was January 2026, a couple of months ago. And bids came in higher than we expected and over our budget.
When you said it was a massive concrete, you've been having to
The existing one.
maintain, so the rebar is exposed. When you
was.
maintain that, what do you grind the rebar, paint it, and
Well,
then repatch? Or
It depends on the situation. Typically, it's sandblasted or brush blasted, take off any surface rust and then patched. Or depending on the situation, if this one actually has a good amount of fill over the top, so it's not easy to approach it from the surface and let's say re-pour the whole deck. You've got to do a pretty large excavation and so forth. So I think this one mainly has been attacked from the bottom, which is hard to patch overhead, as well as the abutment walls on the sites holding the structure up were, again, there was certainly cracks, something called efflorescence, which is salts and stuff coming out
Okay.
of the concrete because of the cracking and intrusion of water through the ground and so forth. And again, I think it was, again, when you're at the 1935 time factor, it's typically not worth keeping trying to
Pour money into
maintain
it.
at some point something like, okay, we got to cut our losses, and that's what the capital program is for, is to put some real money into replacements of our infrastructure and major improvements or rehab.
When you're replacing it, are the materials, existing materials recycled? Is there
A
some
lot of
work
times
there?
they are. The asphalt is. It gets
Mhm.
milled off and reused, recycled.
Yeah.
A lot of the aggregate and stone that are dug up are recycled, and actually the concrete is crushed so they can remove the steel rebar, which gets recycled. And oftentimes the crushed concrete can be reused as fill in non-structural locations. This is already, it's older and cracked up, but we have used that in areas where we need to fill an embankment or something like that. Yeah. So most of the material can be reused in that type of a structure.
I guess as a follow-up to that one, do we use someone local? I know we have a recycling concrete company, I think, or do we have a contract with a
Yeah.
company outside?
How this works is the whole project is a bid to a contractor. In this case, Keeler Construction, and it's up to Keeler to do that. And, you know, these things do have value. The steel has a value. The asphalt has a value when it's milled up and recycled and reused. So they are, you know, they try and be as efficient as they can, but that it's up to them which firm they go with to do that recycling work.
We receive when we bid it out, do we receive a credit once he sells, or we bid it with a unit price that is discounted from the original bid?
Yes, it's the unit price. We place the bid, and oftentimes there are very valuable items such as steel beams and girders. If it's a steel beam and girder bridge, it's completely made out of steel. And that's a lot of steel that always gets recycled. And they put that into the price of the bid. There's not a separate line for, you know, a credit for the bridge, but you know, this is why these are bid out unit price to the lowest bidder. So everybody's trying to be as efficient as they can and take that into account in their bid. Like they will get a credit for the old steel.
They incorporate in their bottom line
Correct.
of the.
Incorporated in their bottom price already.
Mhm.
Correct.
Questions anymore? Good, good. Everyone online, good?
Yep. Thank you.
Well, hearing no other comments, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
I
Great
think we
job.
have one more.
Oh, one more?
I wish, yeah, we had over.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Eight projects that went out to bid, bridge,
Wow.
culvert, and roadway paving projects this
Got
fall
it.
and winter. And these are the three that ended up being higher than what
Yeah.
we had budgeted.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, my mistake, sorry.
that's all right.
So next item on the agenda is item 3C, and that is to amend the 2026 capital budget to increase the project authorization in the amount of $1,585,000 from $2,575,000 to $4,160,000 for a total project authorization of $4,160,000 for the Highway Preventive Maintenance Number 12 project in the towns of Brighton and Henrietta. I need a motion for those, please. Thank you, Victor. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jennifer. I heard some Jennifer, right? Okay, thanks. Henry, you're up.
Okay, so yeah, our Highway PM 12 project is a milling resurfacing project, which is basically pavement rejuvenation at the surface level of two roads. And again, Elmwood Avenue from Winton to Clover, as well as Highland Drive from Jefferson to actually all the way to Highland, Clover Street. That's an older map, actually, not Clover, but Calkins, thank you, Calkins Road.
Mhm.
And because what ended up
Oh, so it
happening.
goes all the way goes all the way down to the T.
Yeah,
Back to
that's
the
actually,
south
I
there.
I
Mhm.
apologize for the
Okay.
original map that was done. We didn't update the map. So what ended up happening is these sections of roadway, these original sections did qualify for, again, funding from the feds and state at 80 and 15% for a total of 95% funding. And the department, when we received that word that we received the funding for that section of Highland from 390 to Jefferson, we evaluated the rest of Highland down to Calkins and said it's not in good a shape, and we are already having a contract to mobilize. So as a local betterment share, we decided to put in the additional length of Highland Drive for milling, resurfacing, and treatment. So all of Highland is going to get done, even though we had federal aid for a piece of it.
Mhm.
So that's why that was the original map. We did add that little section to the south to Calkins. And so just jumping on both of these, the other thing, one of the other reasons why the costs here are significantly bigger is that we took a look later on at the traffic signal at Marketplace in Marketplace in Highland,
Mhm.
and determined that it was time to replace that signal with a new one. And so that's typically about $350,000 cost that was added to the original plan. And one of the biggest things for both of these roads was that, again, between 2022 and 2026, the price of asphalt has gone up significantly. And for a milling resurfacing project, that's literally about 75% of the project is the asphalt.
Yeah.
So it's a big material cost increase. But just some other highlights of some things that we're doing also on Highland is there are some other locations where just in the past few years, the town had put in some sidewalk connections, but the signals at some of the entrances to the mall there and so forth didn't have the correct PED buttons and so forth. And so we put PED poles and PED buttons in to get that up to speed and up to ADA compliance, as well with audible detectable warning units for the hearing impaired as well. So there was some of that. And likewise, that was done on Elmwood as well. That was all the wheelchair ramps are always evaluated during any of our paving projects to see if they are ADA compliant. We make sure that if they're not, we get them up to current standards, as well as on the majority of this proposed section of Elmwood, we are extending the bike lane that was started in previous projects to the west to extend the bike lane on Elmwood as well.
Okay. Yeah, Tom has mentioned that's when you come in, that you try to add the bike lanes.
Correct, yeah,
On both sides.
and if we also reach out to the towns to see what their recommendation is for that. We definitely want to get them on board. And some
Highland's too
towns,
busy though, right?
well,
That-
Highland, actually, what we're doing in Highland is we're trying to do some traffic calming by narrowing some of the lane widths and adding a shoulder.
okay.
Even though it's not, the town decided as well that we not necessarily needed a bike lane there, but we like to call them multi-use shoulders in case there is the bicyclist that use that dedicated shoulder. So right now, there really isn't much of a shoulder. We're narrowing the lane widths, and that also, the narrowing lane widths does help reduce speeds. So we're hoping to do that and give a little bit more room in the shoulders for a multi-use shoulder as well, paved shoulder from the curbed areas.
Any questions for Henry?
Okay.
Go ahead,
So
Elizabeth.
in the traffic light replacement, so is it being replaced because you have to add the ped buttons, et cetera, to make
No.
it more, or what, I mean, what
Yeah,
goes into
no, that- it
determining
was-
that a
it was
traffic
the-
light needs to be replaced?
Yes, that's a good question. It was the age. That traffic signal was put in when Marketplace Drive was originally built.
Hmm.
And you put me on a spot here,
while
when that was,
ago.
when that was late seventies or early
Marketplace
eighties. I remember I was a kid, all excited about going to Marketplace Mall and stuff, so. It was a long time ago. And, you know, their useful life is 40 years or so. So it was, and we do push it with maintenance and so forth, but again, it was deemed that signal, it was time to replace it and upgrade it and so forth, because it is, I believe it's the older style, the span wire. And we prefer the mast arms now. They're a little bit safer and sturdier. So, it's, you know, we're looking to upgrade. And that was another reason why, some of the costs went higher in 2022. We weren't initializing the program yet to, replace what's called inductance loops to sense traffic. And now we're going with cameras. Because cameras can sense pedestrians, they can sense bicyclists and change the signal for them. So it's definitely an upgrade. And that is what we've kind of switched to, but there is a cost associated with that. And there are several signals right there on Highland as well as, along Elmwood that are being upgraded with the cameras as part of this project. So
When do you anticipate starting all of that,
that is going to start right now. The last I heard is around June 1st.
and how long?
It should take about a month and a half per road.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, really, cause that's such a busy,
Yes.
both of
and-
those are such busy
Right,
corridors.
and Highland Drive, the majority of the major work is gonna be done at night.
Sure.
Because there's not a real residential area there for most of it, and actually some of it's gonna be day. That south section, south of 390 does have some homes, so we're gonna do that during the day, that small section. But the majority in the heavy commercial area, it would be difficult to do that during the day, so we're gonna do that at night. So yes, that's
And then on
part of our
Elmwood, that gets
strategy.
pretty narrow towards
Right.
Clover, right?
Yeah,
Like,
well, it does have shoulders,
Okay.
right up until when you get right up to Clover where things develop and widen out lane wise to put a left turn lane in. There's a left turn lane, so that kind of does take some of the some of the room for the shoulders, right at the intersection. But away from the intersection, there is a shoulder that's now going to be changed into a dedicated bike lane all the way to where it needs to kind of get pushed out again at the other end near Winton and 12 Corners area.
And now it's
We
gonna
need
be
the
safe.
space. Well, we're not really changing the pavement width. This is a pavement rejuvenation thing of milling resurfacing, and we look to see what type of improvements we can make with that type of project.
no, it's
The
great, but
cameras,
it's, yeah.
We can put in bike lanes. The town is supportive of that as well. So that's gonna happen on Elmwood. And the town of Henrietta was supportive of the narrowing of the lanes at Highland to try and slow people down a little bit as the traffic calming feature and adding shoulders. So, but yes, what will happen at those major intersections is the bike lane will drop off and there'll be a sign that's saying bike in lane to advise people that the bicyclists may have to go in their lane. Yeah,
And the nighttime work is only on the north part of Highland.
correct.
Elmwood is
Basically,
daytime.
Elmwood is daytime and the night work is 390 to Jefferson.
Yeah.
That stretch there.
I don't have any question, but I want to praise County DOT's dedication, try to provide multi-use, reuse some of the roadway for some of the bike users and pedestrian users.
I
And
agree.
talking about Elmwood, on the left, the Elmwood from Goodman, the city line, all the way to 12 Corners near Winton, that's the county first bike infrastructure. And so it's great to see that, the county can continue the
It's
legacy.
gonna be extended. Nice.
Mhm. So that's great. Appreciate all the hard work
Right.
from the department.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for Henry? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, you guys have it. Now
That's
you're,
it for me.
now you're. Thanks for coming in. All right, next item on the agenda is item 3D on your agenda, and it is to amend the 2026 through 2031 capital improvement program and the 2026 capital budget to add a project entitled server storage and network equipment in the amount of $3,750,000. And I need a motion for that, please. Thank you, Sean. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, David. And, all right, we have Mr. Forney.
Hi,
Welcome.
and for Information Services, filling in for Jennifer Kugel, who couldn't be here today. So this is a new CIP project. We currently have several CIP projects that for the equipment things. This $3.75 million is primarily for a closet switch replacement. There are 350 closet switches around the county. They were all bought about 13 years ago and they're still running, surprisingly. Some repairs over the years, but the ability to repair them is going away early next year. So we've had this in the CIP for a while, and we slowly move it back. Okay, we can live a few more years because of other things that need to come up. So we move this one back, but we're kind of at the end of the road here on these.
Yeah.
And the other CIPs that we have are funded cash to capital. And there's not been funding for that, enough funding for that to do this. So this CIP is set to be bonded. That's kind of why it's different. It's bonded, big project. And so we're just asking to add this to the whole plan to be able to get this taken care of, to keep everybody's computers running.
These are mostly edge switches and maybe.
Yeah, they're called closet switches. They're like the 2 or 3 switches that are on each floor of the building
Right.
that all the computers go to, and then they have high-speed connections that go down and out to the other
Up
buildings.
to your core switch.
Yeah.
Is there you standardize on a type or you just?
Yes, all the network equipment is Cisco,
Cisco?
and having it all the same makes it talk better together and it's more efficient. They put things in there to make them work faster with the same equipment. So, yeah.
Any questions for Ken?
You said that it's bonded. What time frame does bond require?
I don't know that we've picked that yet, but I know there was discussion about setting it to be about the life of the equipment, right?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah, usually that's 5 years for that type of equipment.
Gotcha. Yeah, you don't want to be longer than that because,
Although they've lasted long,
they have.
which is good.
Although you
Yeah.
probably replaced onesie twosies, right? I
Oh, yeah,
mean,
we've replaced several of them over the years. The biggest thing that
Yeah.
goes on those is the power supplies.
Right,
And so far up to now, we've been able to say, okay, this power supply is gone. We turn it in, they send us another one.
nice,
But beginning of next year, we won't be able to do that anymore.
right, support is done, right?
Yeah.
Mike,
And
you had a
Yeah, was this a enterprise-wide refresh?
Yes, this will be switches across the whole network.
Got it. And in the past, if I overheard the conversation there, that in the past they were kind of done more ad hoc than all at the same time.
Well, most of these were bought 13 years ago, all at one time in a similar kind of program. I don't know if it was, back then, I think we may have been bonding everything 13 years ago.
Mhm.
Cash Capital is a little bit newer than that. But yeah, it was, most of these were purchased at the same time. It was where they had just changed to a new model. So we got kind of at the beginning of a life cycle, which is what also helped them run this distance. And we're fortunately in the same kind of situation where they're just bringing out the new models. So we'll be right at the beginning of a life cycle. So hopefully these might last, hopefully they'll last more than 5 years. We might have 13 out of them, but
Yeah.
we're certainly will do what we can to make sure we get the most out of them for everybody's benefit.
We usually get a warranty with those. Is it 1 year, 2 year?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the standard warranty is. There is SmartNet coverage from Cisco. We don't pay for SmartNet coverage for all 350. We pay for a few.
Yeah.
As they die, we get, get them replaced, but.
Sure, okay.
But
You don't have to pick the ones, you just, we got
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, and then we have some spares in stock, so when one dies, we can swap it out right away and then bring the one back to get it repaired and put it back in
Okay.
stock to be able to cycle the next one through.
Nice. Any other questions for Ken? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
All right.
I,
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, you guys have it. And the next item, item 3E, is to amend the 2026 through 2031 capital improvement program and the 2026 capital budget to add a project entitled Replacement of Mobile Data Terminals and Related Infrastructure in the amount of $3,500,000. I need a motion for that, please. Thank you, Rachel. Is there a second?
I'll say.
Retirees. Reese. And the presenter. It's not, oh, it's, Mr. Jordan. Oh, sorry. Mr. Tantalo.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't send an invitation to the Department of Public Safety. I thought it's IS project.
Well, we're here in full force.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So this is to replace and refresh the mobile data terminals. Every first responder unit in the county of Monroe has this. One of the opportunities by doing this collectively for all of our first responders, we have the ability to communicate effectively, whether it's police, fire, EMS, et cetera, so that the information coming out of the 911 dispatch center is consistent with all of our partners. Everybody's getting the same information, the ability to respond much quicker, the ability to communicate with each other if it happens to be a dual response between fire, police, or let's just say EMS. So these have worked extremely well for us, very productive. As somebody who was working in the public safety arena when these were first outlined or deployed 40 years ago, they've advanced greatly. The technology is phenomenal, but we also know that technology is changing much quicker.
So these are in every vehicle, basically, that responds to an emergency.
Almost every vehicle.
Almost.
So with a fire situation, we may
Yeah.
not have an MDT in every fire apparatus. We
Right.
might have it in the command vehicle, and then the first fire apparatus that arrives, because they're all getting the same information.
That makes sense, yeah.
But we will be deploying 925, right? Yeah. 925 units.
How long do they last?
Well, the refresh.
Like a laptop?
Yeah,
That'll-
think about a
like-
laptop. If you've had a laptop for 5 years, it's probably time
Right.
for a new one. It gets slow.
Right.
Yeah, they have about a 5-year life cycle.
5 years, yeah. And then same questions, you're gonna have spares and
Yes.
warranty and. Okay,
The products, I will say, with the number that we've ordered, the ability or the need to replace units has been really minimal. Out of
Oh,
the
yeah.
925, maybe it's 20 over the 5 years that we've had to replace. So we do have a contingency plan to be able to meet that need.
okay. And it's a bonded project again, just because of the
I'll defer to the chief.
same. same
I'm
question.
sorry, so here.
Same
when we
question as
were
before.
working on the 20
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
working on the 26th budget, and I said this at ledge meetings frequently, the cash capital got cut in many departments because we just couldn't fit it in the budget. We were using too much fund balance. So we had to take some out. This is the result of that. We're gonna have to bond for some things that we would have normally just funded with cash.
Yeah,
We just don't have
Right,
cash.
right.
So there are some things that are gonna have to start getting bonded. Hopefully I will get it in, my intent is to look at the things that are, have a shorter life cycle and, I think there's still some cash capital in DOT. To me, it doesn't make any sense to cash capital DOT so much. I'm gonna start moving some of that to other, but in
'Cause those
bond,
projects
because
are
your
bigger.
projects
And they
um,
last longer.
last much longer. So that's gonna be the intent. It's just we gotta get there with the budget and, but for sure, the stuff, I kind of broke their budget a little bit because I took it out and
Mhm.
spent, you know, they were planning cash. I took it out, so I need
Got it.
to get them a way to buy what they need.
Understood. So it's gonna be similar 5-year bond, because the
Mhm.
laptop is.
Yeah.
But you're changing that moving forward, you're thinking of
Yeah,
going to cash for,
cash for
computer
for
equipment.
Yeah, for shorter things that are, your useful life is shorter. I wanna use cash for that and bond for longer.
makes sense. Any questions?
Yeah, what happened if a vehicle is not being used out of the 900 licenses? So if a vehicle is not used, is that used as spare parts? We remove certain equipment and keep, so we just.
Richard?
So in regards to vehicle usage,
Right, so if we have a vehicle that is no longer for whatever reason or multiple, how do we deal with that specific equipment?
So-
Do we remove it?
if the vehicle is out of service and is going to be out of service for a period of time, we will take back the laptop. Or if it's, reached its life cycle of, 80,000 miles on a patrol vehicle, it's usually when they will start to cycle them out. But they also do replace that vehicle. And then we will put the MDT in that piece of equipment.
So it's, we remove the laptop, but any component to accept the laptop that is also part of the funding?
Well, they have to run the wiring and, the SIM cards and that type of equipment in the vehicle. So that traditionally happens, if you will, on a regular basis as fleet operations for each agency that's involved is, bringing in new vehicles to replace those that, as far as vehicles have reached their life cycle. We try not to waste any one of those MDTs because they're a high demand.
But yeah, I guess that's what I was going with the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? David? Darius, you good? Good. Victor? Rachel? All right. All right, hearing everyone online, you good?
Yep. Thank you.
Good. Hearing no other comments or questions, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Abstentions? Great, the ayes have it. And sorry, Ken, nice job, by the way, on the last. Yeah, sorry about that. I thought you were 2 in a row as well, so.
Nobody corrected me.
Sorry, Richard, too. Any other business? Hearing none, our next scheduled meeting is May 21st at our normal time of 3:30 right here. And I need a motion for adjournment, please. Thank you, Jennifer. Is there a second? I heard Richard there.
No, I didn't say anything.
You laughed, I know. All in favor?
Aye.
Great rest of the day. I'm gonna say month, but it is the